So everybody wants to know what the #1 used weapon is inside a prison. Now, throughout the years, you know it's going to change depending on what institution you land at, what type of inmates are in that environment while you were there. It'll switch up time to time. A lot of people might think it's the knife, okay? Some camps I went to, yes, it was. Other people might think it's the poker, all right? Some camps I went to, same thing. But the one thing, no matter where you go, that will always be there, that you will always be able to get your hands on, that has been used inside of prison for decades, is the lock. Haha, I'm the best. Finna be this way till I EOS. Take it how you want, nigga. Yeah, I'm a pro. Fuck around and bust your lot while you're at Vizzo. I hate to be this way, but I live for the moment. Waking up every day, show me an opponent. Shanks on deck, hitting bitch with a lock. So much pool, I can even start you from the box. You don't wanna pay rent, got me bent. Got lax on deck, your money was well spent. Vultures on the prowl, so don't try testing. Step 2 comes violent, first steps finessing. You a hold down man, suitcase this. My cell phone, I'm a charger, don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see your ass, you gon' leave airlifted. What's up, y'all? You already know, man. Kfrogtv back in the building. Y'all go ahead and do me that solid favor. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. So today I'm going to be answering everybody's question about what's the #1 used weapon while inside of prison. And I'm going to be real with y'all. Some institutions I landed at, knives. Alright? But that's probably what y'all thought anyways. Y'all probably thought, well, knives. You know, people get stabbed all the time inside of prison, right? Yeah, but let me break it down and let you know why it isn't always knives, okay? One, not everywhere you go are people trying to kill people, all right? Sometimes they just want to hurt them real bad and, you know, not try to, you know, end their life. Two, depending on where you go, depending on how the security, you know, level is and how, like, much they do shakedowns and flip your bunks and cell inspections, the harder it is to actually have a knife. You see what I'm saying? So the less people who are going to actually get knives, because you're going to get caught with it 9 times out of 10 before you even get to put use to it. And 3, you're not allowed to have a knife. You get what I'm saying? So what better way than to just have an item that you can actually have and then use it as a weapon if you have to. And that's going to be the master lock. All right. Now, everybody's always heard of locking the sock for decades. You know what I'm saying? Whether you heard it on movies, whether you heard it from a buddy of yours or a joke or whatever it may is, people always mention locking the sock, right? When I first got locked up, I'm like thinking like, yeah, you know, shit, I'm going to see locking the socks, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what everybody be talking about, you know, and this was back when I was young, when I went to like my detention, you know, my detention center and my program. I already had heard about locking the sock, you feel me? So at a young age, I was actually thinking of it the wrong way and actually doing it the wrong way. You know, people think that you just get like a tube sock, a long ass football sock or whatever size sock you have, and you actually stick the lock inside the sock and tie a knot in it so that way this, you know, the lock is in the corner of the sock and it can't go nowhere. You could do it like that. Don't get me wrong, but that shit there, you might only have 1 or 2 hits, you know. You're going to eventually tear that sock, believe it or not. So when I got locked up at a young age and when I was in my program, juvenile program, we had like a North Florida against down South Florida. Like there was like a war going on amongst Florida, you know what I'm saying? And I remember I grabbed the lock, boom, put that bitch in the, you know, sock and went to tying it and everything like that. And a couple of my homeboys were like, bro, what you doing? This back when my nickname in the program, they used to call me Spark Plug because I get hot and pop off. You know what I'm saying? That's what a spark plug does. So they're like, nah, Spark Plug, you tripping, you tripping. That ain't how you do it, bro. That ain't how you do it. I didn't know no better. I actually found out that you actually tie the sock itself to the lock. That way you ain't got to worry about it coming off. You ain't got to worry about this shit ripping. None of that. You see what I'm saying? And when I got to prison, people probably thought I was a professional at it, you know what I'm saying? Like, once something hit the fan and it was time to go, okay, you ain't saying nothing, you feel me? I knew how to tie that bitch, boom, 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 boom. You know, you you don't just tie it right there, you tie it again. And then depending on how big your sock is, you do several knots. It's got to tear through all those before that lock's even going to come off. And another thing too, when it comes to you having a long sock, you're going to be swinging and it's going to be a wild ass swing. So if you're going to fight somebody and you got this lock tied to or inside of a sock, then tied, and it's a long ass sock, all the person's got to do is get up on you and get close enough to where you got one good swing with that. You feel me? If I'm coming towards you like this and you go to swing it, I'm going to just run towards you and try to block it the best I can with that one swing. Now I'm up on you to where I can grab it out of your hand and use it against you. Okay? And that's one of the main things you see happen inside of prison. You see people pull a lock out and try to hit somebody with it, and the person they tried to hit ends up with it and ends up hitting them with it, splitting them wide open with their own lock. You get what I'm saying? And of course you don't want to go through that type of situation. That's kind of like the same thing as, you know, sneaking someone, like, you know, popping off on them and then them turning around and whooping you. It's the same thing as if you decide to go up on them or you bring a lock to the fight and you think you're gonna patch them up, and then you go and you hit, and then they either weave that shit, block that one shit, or it just brushes off and they grab you and they hold you down and they start beating your ass with your own lock. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens a lot because a lot of people don't really know how to use the lock and sock. You feel what I'm saying? And they still call it a lock and a sock even if a sock isn't even involved. You know what I'm saying? You got some people that will literally like put this shit like in their fingers, like and go up and start fighting you as if it was like a part of a brass knuckle. You got canteen bags is how I normally seen it. Okay, that's where I see people use it way more than with a sock. So how they tie it like this, they do the same thing with a canteen bag. You get the canteen bag and you tie it around this part of the lock right here. You see what I'm saying? It is. I seen one dumbass one time grab a canteen bag because it comes with two handles so you can carry the bag, which for those that don't know what a canteen bag looks like, where I was at, it looks kind of like a basketball net. It's the same thing as a basketball net, same type of material, but it's smaller than the holes that are in a basketball net. You feel me? And the two handles is what you hold to carry your shit. Dumbass put the two handles together and then just hook this on it, on the two handles. That shit's gonna tear off the handles. The handles are gonna come right off. They're just stitched on there. You see what I'm saying? Lock went flying across the dorm when they went to fighting. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta know what you're doing. You feel me? And this is actually a thing that a lot of people already know about. It isn't no joke. Like, it isn't no secret. It isn't, no, on the hidden agenda or nothing. You are literally allowed to get a lock. You see what I'm saying? And the system already knows that they're used for weapons. That's why certain institutions make it more difficult to get it. I'll tell you a perfect example. My main camp I had landed at, my very first camp, which was Calhoun CI in Florida. That was my first main camp. You have to purchase your lock at the canteen window, and then you got to wait 30 days for them to put you on the call out to where you go to property and pick it up. And then you got to bring that receipt or they're not giving it to you. Now, when you go to a reception center like South Florida Reception Center, you could go straight up to the window and buy your lock and leave right then and there. You could go up to the window and be like, hey, I need 4 locks. Swoop and swipe your card and they'll give you 4 locks. You see? So, and that's a reception center. So everybody tends to want to try to get their lock at the reception center because you can get it that day. You think about it. If you got to wait 30 days to be on the call out just to get your shit, whatever you do get canteen-wise or any valuables in your locker, that shit's at risk until you get a lock. You feel me? And it isn't like, oh, what do you need a lock for? If people respect you, yada, yada, yada. You need a lock for all types of things. You need a lock for the guards sometimes. You know what I'm saying? If the police are coming around, searching lockers and shit, you might want to just go ahead and hurry up and lock your lock and shit, which don't mean they can't get in it. Of course they can, but at the same time, it's like, you'll need a lock. You feel me? Like, people that are respected also have locks. You feel me? And it's more of like, if you don't need it to lock your shit up, you can always grab that and use it if it's time to bust them upside the head. And these shits, when you get hit, the way it feels, it's like a pressured boom, boom, boom. And then you won't notice till after the fight. You're split. And you'll be able to identify someone who's been patched up with a lock before, because we call it patches. Just like if you get a scar on your head, your hair goes to grow back, it'll grow around it a little bit and you'll see the patches of the scars. So you'll see people in prison, you know, you got low cuts in prison. So you'll see the people who got all the scars. It looks like a bunch of patches in their head. And that's because they've been fired up with a lock. And me personally, every time that I've been dealt with a lock, like when a lock was involved and I, you know, some type of way been hit with one, the worst place that I got hit with a lock wasn't even the head, y'all. It was my elbow. I got hit in my elbow before. You feel me? And I hit somebody in their elbow. After I knew how dangerous it was and how bad it felt like my arm was broken. You know? So I've made it to where I've made people feel like their arm's broken. You can go up to them like you finna bump, and then you, instead of just coming sideways, bam, and trying to bust them, you could come from the bottom and bam, and hit their ass straight in their arm. Their reaction's gonna be to, their instinct's gonna be to try to block it, and they're gonna put that bow right in front of it. And when you hit that shit, their arm is gonna feel broken for the next couple days. Like, you can't even lift your shit and put deodorant on, it hurts so bad. Like, I'm just speaking facts. Like, that's literally how bad that shit hurts. You see what I'm saying? The head, it's kind of like, yeah, it hurts afterwards. You know what I'm saying? But you don't really feel it when it's going down, because you're bumping, you're fading, your adrenaline's going. So as y'all are throwing them blows back and forth and shit, he's hitting you, you're hitting him, you're not feeling nothing like that. You feel me? I know I'm not the only one, you know, that don't feel shit until maybe the next day or a couple days later. You know, sometimes a fight won't even be that bad. You know, to just be some rolling around, tussling and shit, and you hitting them in their face a couple times, you swear they never connected, and then a few days later, your whole body feels sore like you went as hard as you could in the gym. Like you did a massive workout. You feel me? Like you don't notice it until a couple days later. You feel me? Now, like I said, everybody has access to a lock. You know, but not everybody has access to a knife. See, that's what separates the big dogs, though. Because not everybody's willing to risk getting a knife. They're not willing to risk letting people know they want a knife. They're not willing to risk getting caught with the knife. You feel me? Which it makes sense, you know, of course. But if you don't need a knife, why get one, right? But what if everybody has a knife? If one's entitled and, you know, you don't want to bring a lock to a knife fight. You see what I'm saying? Because don't get me wrong, locks come in handy now. You can do what you got to do with a lock, you feel me? But they're not always at best interests, you see? Just because you can have access to them and you can get your hands on it easier and people will use them frequently doesn't always mean it's what's best, you feel me? Of course, a knife is, you know, because a knife's going to stop whatever's coming at you. A knife is going to, they're going to feel that weird feeling when that shit punctures the skin. When it goes in, they're going to feel a weird wake-up call. And it's going to make them stop whatever the hell they're doing and back up off you. And then a lot of people, you know, get real religious when they see blood. You feel me? So, of course, with a knife, you're going to see blood 9 times out of 10 quicker than you are with a lock, you know. But these locks are one thing that people always have. So you think about it, man. These shits are used for all types of things. Like I said, lock in your locker. Not only just used for a weapon, but, you know, when you want to break shit, you know, you'll notice certain people, you'll notice their locks. Like this one ain't got no dents in it. But you'll be able to see on someone's locker, you'll be able to see all the different dents for what they use it for. You know what I'm saying? Because people use it to bang shit, like to flatten it out. You know what I'm saying? You got the junkies over there that are trying to crush pills. You know, there's all types of things that it's actually used for. If you need something to be hit hard, this is like your hammer. You see what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, since you can get one of these and you have access to it, even if you have to wait, even if you got to wait them 30 days, if they come around and you got a lock on your locker, you know, depending on what institution you're at, it's never happened to me. They never took a lock from me, but some institutions apparently, which I can't say because it never happened to me, but apparently some institutions, if they tell your lock's all banged up, they'll take it because they could tell you were using it for something other than just to make it look like you're using it for your locker. You see what I'm saying? People got dummy locks. You know what I'm saying? I kept dummy locks. Everybody keeps dummy locks, which is like you got one that you lock your shit with, and then you got one that's all banged up looking. You feel me? That's your dummy lock. So if it comes down to it, you know, you'll bust someone upside the head with that shit if you have to. And people hand them off to each other. People share locks. Someone will be going home, and people, hey man, let me get that lock. Even if they already got a dummy lock, they still want that lock. You feel me? And then of course the guards, they got the, you know, they got the code to where they can crack them all. It's like a, you know, like the master code to where no matter what it is, they'll come there, you know, and unlock it. You feel me? They can get in it if they have to, or they can cut it, or what they normally do if you go to confinement and you got shit locked in your quad, like in your dorm, or, you know what I'm saying, in your cell, in your locker or whatever, they'll come to you and say, oh, you got a lock on your box? Yeah. Okay, what's the code? And then people give the officer their code, and the officers go back and open it just to save your lock. But they're not going to give you your lock in property. I mean, in confinement, it's going to go to property. You see what I'm saying? And then think of it this way. Blind inmates don't even get these ones. You see what I'm saying? They don't get the combination ones like this. Blind inmates get the ones that take the key, like the ones you'll see people use on their gates and use on bicycle chains when they're locking their bike up and shit. The big one with the key on the bottom. Now, them shits right there, you already know, like, them shits feel way different than this. You know, you might bust someone upside the head with this, and the damn dial log right here might fly off and everything like that. You feel me? But the other ones, the block ones, them shits are splitting you no matter where they hit you. You get hit in the arm, it's splitting your arm if a person's swinging that shit with the right force. You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy because if you think about it, it's like you're given the weapon, you know, by them. You know, yeah, you got to purchase it, but you're giving it by them. Just like when I first got to prison, they used to make you shave. They used to give out the, like, dollar Bic lighters, like the ones you see at the dollar store. They used to give out razor blades, and people were cutting everybody, $1.50 and everybody and stuff with the same razor blades that was actually being given from the institution, you see? So then they put an end to giving out razors. You know what I'm saying? They do it at some, like, private camps, but they put an end to it to where they always give it to you. Before, it was mandatory that you shaved. You know, they want to let you go to chow, want to let you go to Vizzo. None of that shit. You feel me? You could be walking to chow and they could be like, oh, go shave. You might make it in time to eat. You know? Now it's to the point to where I remember when I was leaving prison, it was like, oh, you know, like, come on, Sarge, I ain't trying to go there like this. Please let me hit the barbershop. To where they're not even letting you shave in time. They're sending you to Vizzo looking all scruffy and everything like that. Before it was the opposite. They didn't want you to look like that when you went to Vizzo. You see? And then it switched. You feel me? They did that to kind of like die down on the cuttings of, you know, with razor blades. But all it did was up the price for razor blades. You could still get them. You see what I'm saying? And then people used to have dummy razor blades. You know, it wasn't nothing to literally get a big razor, the ones they give you, grab the thing, and you just open the sides of it perfectly with a pair of toenail clippers. For those that have been to prison before, you already know what I'm talking about. You get the toenail clippers and you open the sides of the razor thing. They take the razor out, they close it so there's no razor in there, and then with a black marker or a pen, you just scribble across one of the lines. Because once you slide that cap over it, the guard's getting so many, and all they do is go like this, and they look at it and they throw it in the trash. That's it. You feel me? And then since they're doing it so quick, they're not literally trying to see if it's actually a blade. No, but it's an illusion to make them think they're looking at a blade. You feel me? And now next thing you know, boom, you still got your razor blade. You see what I'm saying? Because they started changing it up to where, like, you had to basically rent the razor blade. So it's like they give you a razor blade, you sign the sheet, they give you one. And then you got to turn that one in order to get another one. And you weren't allowed to have more than one razor in your locker at a time. You see what I'm saying? But like if yours was dull, you had to give them yours in order to get another one. But the razor blade stayed in your locker at all times. It wasn't like you used it and then went and returned it. No, you need a razor blade, they give it to you, you sign one out, boom. And then next thing you know, when you need one, it could be 5 months later. That shit's dull now. It's leaving razor bumps. You can go up to them and be like, hey, Sarge, man, I need another razor. They're going to be like, where's your old one at? And you just turn it. So it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? They were real lenient with it. Now, you know, it's harder to get them, but you can still buy them and shit and do what you got to do with them. But for that price, you might as well get you a poker or something off of the fence. You know what I'm saying? And make your own and do what you got to do. But you ain't got to worry about all that when it comes to the lock. You see what I'm saying? Me personally, how I feel it should go, when you're using a lock, I'm going to be real with you. I feel like if you're going to go with the lock instead of a knife, I feel like you should catch his ass off guard. That's how I look at it. Because you think about it. People done seen so many people flop and fumble and mess up trying to use the lock in a fight that it ain't that scary, like going against a lock. Like, I'll literally line someone up, and if they pull a lock out, bro, I'm still down the bump because I know all I got to do is get my hand on you. Like, get my hand, on your wrist, get that lock. You get what I'm saying? I'm not, my mind's on that. You feel me? Now, I might get hit a couple times and shit while you're swinging it and shit, but that's just going to make me want to make sure I grab that motherfucker. Now, when you got a knife or something, you got a knife and shit, now, I can't get hit in the mixed while trying to grab that because each one of them shits might be deadly. You see? So it's a big difference, you know, when it comes to a lock. So I feel like if you're going to use a lock, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't let them know about it. You feel me? That's the whole meaning. I look at it, you put that shit on the sock or on a canteen bag, and go over there and you patch them up. Do what you're supposed to do with it. You know, that's basically like the best way to do it because you don't want to be one of them ones that the person got the shit from you because, yeah, it splits them and it actually, you know, it looks worse than it really is. You know, yeah, there's a lot of blood. They're gushing, their head split open and all that stuff, but they're not really going to feel that, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like if you've ever been in a fight before and somebody hit you with something in the middle of the fight, all it did was piss you off more, get you more mad. That's what's going to happen. The lock's going to get that person more mad. So you're going to want to make sure you get them the best you can with that very first swing. That very first connection is the main one. You see what I'm saying? And who knows, if you do it the right way, you might knock the fight out of them. And then they might try to just cover up and fucking hit the deck, and then you're on top the whole time. Pat, pat, pat. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is the number one, you know, thing you're going to always see because they give it to you, like I said. You feel me? You got to make sure you're going to use it the right way, you know, because there's people that will literally get in that paint even if you have a lock. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, you're going to always see more locks than you do knives. And the reason for that is because they don't give knives out. They give out locks. So you actually are allowed to have this weapon. You understand? They will take it, though, if you have, like I said, if you got more than one, like if you got a lock on your locker and they open it and then you got one or two of them sitting inside of a tumbler cup or sitting inside your lock, they're going to know them shits is your ammunition. They're going to know those are your dummy locks. You get what I'm saying? They only want you to have one lock. You feel me? It ain't like you can have 6 of them in your locker. You know, they're going to take all the other ones. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, you might as well, since you have access to this, you might as well use it the right way. Stick to yourself. Just mind your business. Do what you got to do. Get you some money. And if something ends up coming your way, harm comes your way, you know, don't show your hand. But just always remember, you have access to a weapon anytime you want one. And it's also going to protect people from breaking in your locker, stealing your shit, you know, or the guards just randomly coming around searching your locker. You feel me? Because they might come around and with gloves on and then just go around and just start opening lockers, and then this one's got a lock on it. Hey, whose locker is this? You feel me? All you got to do is stay away from your bunk or stay away from the cell at the time, and then everybody just be like, oh, he's in a chow at work. He's at work. You see? You might have something in there you're not supposed to have. You feel me? And then everyone's just like, oh, he's at work in a chow hall. Or he's at school, education, and then the guard's going to just keep on going to another one. Just got you spared when really you're in the dorm right now. You see? So a lock comes in handy, and it's one of those things that if you do it the right way, you have nothing to worry about other than making sure you tie that shit. You feel me? Because if not, you're going to, there it goes. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people who are actually scared to fight, who ain't good at protecting themselves, who probably never fought in real life, you know, want to not look as soft as they truly are, and they know that they're just trying to defend themselves. They know they're just trying to stick up for themselves because they don't want to be bullied, or they don't want people to keep bullying them. So they try to defend themselves, and the first thing they go to is a lock because they don't want to kill nobody. So they're going to a lock. A lock's the first thing they're going to grab and everything, but they rush, they don't pay attention and tie it the right way, you know, or you got the people that sit there and forever tie it and make it look like, oh, they know what they're doing, and then they spent too much time on it, still tied that shit bogus. You know what I'm saying? It isn't like you could sit over there for 15 minutes and tie a lock to something without somebody saying, hey man, what you doing over there? You feel me? Some dorms you go into, people go around at nighttime when lights go out and make sure everybody has their lock on their locker and locked, because they think in the middle of the night people are going to wake up, grab their lock, tie it up, and beat someone while they're sleeping. You feel me? So some dorms you go in might want to do a locker check and make sure everybody's shit's locked. They'll walk up to every single locker and pull on the lock like this and go to the next one. That's what they do, stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on where you land at, but no matter where you land, there will be locks. You see what I'm saying? So might as well, you know, make the best out of it and try to do whatever you can do with it. You feel me? But anyways, y'all, I'm going to wrap this video on up. I appreciate y'all tuning in like I always say. Y'all drop in the comment section, man, and let me know if you ever had to bust somebody with a lock. You know what I'm saying? I've done it a couple times. I've had people hit me, you know, shit like that. But have you ever seen somebody fumble it? Like, have you ever seen somebody get the shit taken from them and it reversed and the other person was beating them with their own lock? Or have you ever seen them not tie it right and it went flying in the middle of the altercation? If so, drop it in the comment section. You feel me? Everybody would like to read about it. I listen to everybody's comments. I post, you know, I postpone what I'm doing just to make sure I read and respond to people. I like when y'all drop in the comment section, man. I appreciate it. But anyways, man, y'all make sure y'all keep them squares, rats, clowns, chomos, pedos, gunners, wannabe island boys, clout chasers, all them out your circle, man. And you already know, till next time, it's the one and only, I am my team, Frog.